All right, third review of the day today. I don't know. I might just save the fourth for another day. But oh my God. Okay, so today's third movie is Vampires versus the Bronx. So yeah, we all know where the Bronx is. It's in Detroit, and if you don't know that, then now you do know. So it's about this group of kids, obviously being raised in the Bronx, and this group of people moving in, who they, well, I guess I can say it, group of white people who are moving into the Bronx to try to take it over, I guess. But they're not only just white people, they're also vampires. So it's a little bit of a twist, I guess, as opposed to just, the whole, yeah, I don't really know how to, yeah. Is that like, were they trying to make the movie into like a slight like race war type thing? Like I don't want to say that because that just sounds bad, doesn't it? But yeah, I guess it was kind of was like that in a sense, which is just weird for a movie. But I suppose they were also vampires, so it was like vampires versus humans. But it was like, yeah, like they were pushing the vampires out of the Bronx, which is like I guess kind of I don't really want to say it's like ghetto like, is it? Is the Bronx really ghetto-y? I don't really know. I think Harlem was more like the ghetto type thing, wasn't it? But one of the cool things about this movie, despite it maybe being sort of geared towards that, I don't really know why it would be. Um, yeah, it didn't really feel like that until I just thought about it now, because they kind of did talk about it a little bit, like the kids saying about the white people and blah 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 blah, whatever else they said. So yeah, it does kind of feel like that a little bit now that I'm saying that, which I find wrong for a movie to make it about that. But I mean, I guess I guess it happens, right? Um, so anyway, despite whether that was maybe what the movie was trying to be geared towards or not, we're just going to ignore maybe that fact about it and just say that it was about people versus vampires, and they're just trying to keep um, things in the Bronx the way they want it kept and not have people come in and take over. And when they find out that they're vampires, obviously these kids know that they have to uh, try to, one, convince everybody else that there's vampires in the Bronx trying to take over everything, and I guess I guess restore the vampires believe that they're restoring balance back to the way things were when they were in control, and obviously the people of the Bronx don't want that, so they're trying to keep things the way things are now. But one of the things I thought was cool was that Method Man was in this movie, and he played Father Jackson. So yeah, I knew it was him right away. As soon as I saw him, I was like, "Oh my God, that's Method Man! No way! Cool that he's in this movie." And so the three kids' names were Miguel, Bobby Carter, and Louis Acosta. So I think two of them were, I think two of them were partly Hispanic. I think they both had Spanish mothers, um, or at least they could both speak Spanish. I know that much. And then Bobby was, yeah, wasn't. No, Bobby was not Hispanic at all. And Bobby was sort of getting mixed up with this older dude who was trying to be like I guess, a gangbanger from the Bronx. And yeah, was it Henny? Pretty sure it was Henny, played by Jeremiah, or maybe, no, not Jeremiah, Jeremy Harris. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Henny that he was slowly getting mixed up with, and at one point Henny tells him to go and kill his friends. And I think that's kind of when Bobby realized that maybe what he was getting mixed up in was not good for him or anybody else, obviously. If this is the kind of initiation he was going to have to um, be involved in just to be kind of part of a gang or be on the streets, then he didn't want any part of that. And he eventually goes back to Miguel and Lewis and apologizes to them and helps them out with this whole vampire situation, which was really hard to convince everybody else of because uh, obviously vampires have no reflection, so even when they're recording, the coffin's opening and they can see them in real life. They can't be seen on the camera, so yeah, it just totally took away from everything. Everything that they were trying to prove in the very beginning of the movie, and they had a protector who was played by Shea Wingman, Frank Poldoro, I want to say is his name. And was it Rita that helped them out in the end because she was the only one that kind of was on their side and believed them a little bit about what was going on. It might have been her. That doesn't seem right either, does it? Because she seems like she's probably too old. But I mean, they were younger, much younger than the girl that helped them out. Because I think they were like maybe four. I don't know whether they were supposed to be 2 or 3 or 4 years younger than the girl that helped them out at the end of the movie. Now I'm trying to think of who it was. Oh, well, let's just see this photo here and see who's in it. Oh, come on. You gotta be kidding me. Can't tell me there's not a photo of the four of them at the end of the movie when they're fighting the leader of the vampires. Okay, so it was her. Wow, alright. Yep, that's all I needed to see. Okay, so it was Rita that helped them out in the end. That believed them a little bit about what was going on. And so Vivian was played by Sarah Gadon, and she was the leader of the vampires. We find out, I think, closer to the end of the film, because when she first runs into them, she seems like a pretty nice girl, and she kind of wants to help them out with this block party that they're trying to get going to help keep what was the guy's name that owned the store? Do 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 do. Oh, come on, you can't tell me he's not in the main cast list. He's got to be there somewhere. Who was the guy that owned the store? Let's just go through the photos again because I know he's there somewhere. Oh, okay, I guess that is him. So yeah, they were trying to help keep Tony's store open, right? Yeah, so they were trying to get this block party going to raise enough money for him, and then they find this vampire problem, and they have to deal with that first, obviously. And then I think Tony's store Tony ends up getting killed, I think, actually. And yeah, he does, because he gets killed by Vivian in the movie. And then uh, they have to try to convince Miguel's mother to not let Vivian into the house, and then eventually she just snaps, and now uh, Miguel's mother knows what's going on too. So then um, the people come together from the Bronx and get together and eventually take down the vampire threat, and then they are able to actually continue on and have their block party and raise money for, I guess, the community as a whole. And now they're vampire free, or at least I would think they are. Because when did this movie come out? 2 years ago. So I mean, there could potentially be a sequel to it. Because I mean, there's got to be a vampire somewhere. There's no way that they killed them all. It just seemed like it was a little too easy. And maybe somebody's going to try to resurrect them again. I would think would maybe be the thing that happens. But it was funny trying to watch them get together and get everything that they needed, like the crosses and the garlic and the holy water and all of that stuff. And being that they were kids, it was much harder for them too because their parents were um, taking them to church because they thought they were possessed or taken over by like the devil or something. Yeah, just yeah. I guess yeah. The especially the two Hispanic mothers for sure were like going nuts that their sons thought there were vampires in the Bronx. So yeah, some of this movie was quite comical, and then some of it was serious, like obviously showing the true side of things, like people getting involved in younger kids getting dragged into gangs and things like that, and having to kind of pull yourself back to reality and realize that maybe that isn't the path you want to take because you can see how it's going for the older guys, right? Because they, even though they say they work for themselves, they were always working for somebody and doing something, doing a task for somebody else. But anyway, I did give this movie a 6 out of 10. I thought it was deserving of at least that, even though it still wasn't my favorite of all time movies. Um, I wouldn't really say the acting was necessarily bad in this. I just think maybe the story was kind of a bit weak. I don't know. Yeah, just parts of this movie were kind of like meh. Like this is an okay movie. I don't really know how else to describe it, to be completely honest with you, for this one. Other than that way right there, that was just kind of an okay movie, and a little bit better than Midway for me. So I gave it a 6. Uh, but yeah, I mean, go and watch it for yourself and see what you thought of it, and maybe you have some of the same opinions as I do about maybe kind of what it was like. I don't really know. I don't really want to say that it was necessarily geared towards what I said at the beginning, but um, in a sense, I guess maybe it could be seen from that perspective, and it would kind of suck if that's maybe what they were trying to do with this movie, especially involving kids in that kind of context. Yeah, just that would be a little weird. I would think if that's maybe the direction they were trying to go. Really hoping that wasn't it, because yeah, I feel like that just divides us even more if they're trying to put that kind of content into films, right? I think we need to kind of come together and stop, you know, stop the whole, um, stop that kind of, I don't really, like narrative of, yeah, everybody's just trying to fight one another. Like, let's come together and be nice, be nice to one another. That should be the message that comes out of this movie. We don't need to all act tough and be defensive. Like, why are we trying to shut other people out of like our cultures, I guess, essentially? Yeah, we should be accepting and let other people in. I think that should maybe be the takeaway from this movie. Um, no more division, acceptance, and coming together. Yeah, so really, I guess kind of a lesson could be learned from this movie. Maybe maybe not the one they wanted you to learn from a vampire movie, but hey, that's just my takeaway from it. So anyway, I guess I will see you guys in the next review, and bye bye for now.